There is a famous checklist for fair value gaps. 6 factors. Tick all 6 boxes and you found a quality gap. Tens of millions of views teach some version of this list, and not one of those videos shows you a single backtest. So we coded all 6 rules exactly as taught and ran them across 7,500 real gaps. Result up front, 2 of the 6 survived. The other 4 measured as pure noise, and the noise pile includes the most famous rules on the list, which 2 carry the whole checklist, why the celebrity rule does nothing, and what happens when you tick all 6 boxes at once. That last one surprised us. Every box gets its stamp. Let's go. Quick definitions so nobody can say, we cheated. A fair value gap, one violent candle, so fast the other side never got to participate, the gap between the wicks on either side of it. The pitch, price returns to fill the imbalance, then bounces. Our test trades every fresh gap the way the checklist's own worked example does. Wait for the first return, enter on the confirming close, stop beyond the candle that made the gap, target at the swing that move created. Conservative scoring, ties count against us. 10 months of hourly data and 3.5 months of 15-minute across the Nasdaq, the S&P and the Dow, 7,592 gaps. Credit where it's due before we grade anyone's homework. The fair value gap is an ICT concept. The checklist version YouTube teaches is a remix, simplified, repackaged, and in a few places changed. How far the remix drifted from the source, and whether the original rules test better, is its own video, and it's already in the works. One honest flag: a checklist made of words has wiggle room, code does not. Every place we pinned a fuzzy phrase to a number is logged in the results file, on screen right now. Example: a gap that gets touched overnight counts as already used, even though we only entered during the session. If you'd have pinned a rule differently, the code is free, change one line and rerun it. That offer is permanent on this channel. First number: what is a fair value gap worth before any of the 6 factors? 3,187 trades, every fresh gap, the checklist's own entry style. 28% win rate, plus 0.02 R per trade, break even with extra steps. That's the bar. 6 famous factors now have to turn that into a system. Factor 1, the famous one. The gap must be untouched. First visit only. 1,345 untouched gaps later. Plus 0.01 R, 0.003 of an R, away from doing nothing at all. The single most repeated rule about fair value gaps, measured, noise. Factor 2, the boring one. When price returns to the gap, wait for the candle to close inside it or beyond it. Sounds like nothing. It is the entire game, with the confirming close plus 0.02 R. Without it, entering on every raw touch, minus 0.38 R per trade. That is a plus 0.4 R difference, the biggest number in this entire video attached to the rule nobody makes thumbnails about. Stamp. Helps. Loudly. Factor 3. Support and resistance confluence. An old level inside the gap supposedly strengthens it. Defining a level, honestly, was the hardest code in this video. Our definition is in the log. 2,068 confluence gaps. Minus 0.02 R. Slightly worse than no filter, not badly enough to call harmful, nowhere near helpful. Stamp. Noise. Factor 4, priority. When several gaps stack, trade only the deepest one. 319 trades that were the deepest gap on the chart, plus 0.05 R, about plus 0.03 above the bar, which lands under our pre-registered helps line. The honest stamp is noise, the polite kind that says, maybe, come back with more data. Factor 5 comes with a special tool, a box you draw over the move, set to 0, 0.5, and 1, and you only trade gaps in the cheap half. Here's what nobody says out loud. That tool, with those settings, is a 50% retracement line wearing a costume. That's it, that's the tool. Which is fine. Cheap half versus expensive half is a real testable idea. 2,045 cheap half gaps later, plus 0.01 R, 1/100th of an R worse than no filter at all. The famous tool measured nothing. Stamp noise. Factor 6. Break of structure first. The move that creates the gap must have broken a real prior, high or low. Momentum with a receipt. 2,000 trades, plus 0.07 R plus 0.05 over the bar, right on our helps line, earned on real sample size. Stamp helps. The second and final box that survives. So stack all 6, the ultimate fair value gap exactly as taught. 55 trades, 11% win rate, plus 0.02 R, statistically identical to using no checklist at all. 2 working rules, 4 channels of static, and the static drowns the signal. But don't walk away yet, because the latter is the realest thing in this video. Score every gap by how many boxes it ticks, 0 through 6. 0 boxes, minus 0.99 R, catastrophic. 1 box, minus 0.9. 2, minus 0.6. 3, minus 0.24. 4, finally positive. 5 boxes, plus 0.38 R, the best rung on the ladder, and 6 boxes drops to plus 0.28. The ladder climbs all the way up and stumbles on the last step. Filters can sort garbage from playable. What they didn't do, anywhere in this data, is turn a break-even pattern into a money printer. More rules is not more edge. The right 2 rules are: before anyone screenshots that 5-box rung. Last video we showed you how searching enough combinations always produces something that looks brilliant by accident. A best rung selected after scoring 63 factor combinations is not a discovery, it's a hypothesis. The top rungs sit on small samples, 56 trades at 6 boxes, and the solo results are the trustworthy ones. Combinations inherit selection risk. So here's the pre-registered bet. This exact checklist, every constant, every threshold, is frozen in a file tonight, time-stamped, and runs forward from today. The forward scoreboard goes in a future video, and nobody, including us, touches the rules in between. The caveats kept. 10 months of hourly, 3.5 of 15-minute 3 index futures, a sample, not the universe. The hourly chart carried most of the good news. The 15-minute S&P was negative. Per market splits are in the files. Our pins on fuzzy rules are choices. The interpretation log lets you make different ones. Conservative scoring throughout. And none of this measures the checklist in a discretionary trader's hands. It measures the rules as written. Because the rules as written are the only thing anyone can test. That's why we did. The whole lab is free in the Discord. All 7,592 gaps, every factors trades, the interpretation log, the frozen forward test file, and the script that built it. Disagree with a pin? Change it, rerun it, post your ladder, best counter analysis gets featured, name attached. The indicator that marks the 2 surviving factors live is linked below. We test. You decide. And the next time a checklist promises to fix your trading, ask which boxes were ever tested.